Good evening. Coming at you here, the single mum entrepreneur, live in my kitchen. Again, we've had another grey day. It's been really drizzly and rainy here in Woking. I mean, I just love it when there's a bit of sunshine, even when it's cold. But obviously my daughter's been poorly as well. We haven't been out of the house, so yeah, we haven't been for a walk around the park or anything. So I'm feeling a little bit cooped up. But she's much better, and hopefully she'll be able to go to school tomorrow. So, but we'll see in the morning. So yes, I'm still in the kitchen, as I was the last couple of nights. But there's something interesting that I wanted to talk about tonight. And it relates to the post I made on my Facebook page earlier on, which was a quote by Babe Ruth saying, "Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game." And it really related to what I was saying last night about, being an entrepreneur and taking a risk, a calculated risk, obviously to a certain extent, but, taking a risk. And I thought this is the big challenge for a lot of people, isn't it? Because, taking a risk and kind of, not necessarily knowing what is going to happen if you take that risk, that's the definition of it, isn't it? Really does stop people from potentially, fulfilling their true potential. And when I put that post up there, a friend of mine, Rachel, said she sent me a link to a video on YouTube, a guy called Steve Woodward, I think it was, in the US. And what he was saying, even though he was putting it in a faith context, which may or may not speak to everyone, what he was saying, so he was using the analogy of jumping kind of with a parachute. And he was saying, everybody has a gift. Everybody has a gift. And I suppose nowadays, because we see all these images of success all the time, and we kind of think, oh, well, I can't be like that. I can't be like that. And we think, well, oh, but I'm better off in a job because I can't, I don't have that gift or whatever. But the thing is, everybody was given a gift of some type, and this guy, Steve, talks about, this guy in the US who, used to stay in and get early nights because he used to go and cut grass and so on. This guy is now a multi-million-pound, landscaping business owner. And, so what you might think is not a gift is absolutely a gift. I know that I don't have the gift of cooking at all. No, not at all. But people have gifts for, kind of sewing or painting or cooking, or, anything. Everybody has some kind of talent. And what this guy Steve was saying was that, what we can do is we can just keep it in our parachute, we can stand on the edge of the cliff or the edge of the, the plane door, whatever. We can keep the gift is in the parachute, or is the parachute, we can, kind of keep it in there and say, well, you know what, I'm not going to jump. But he said, you really have to jump to find that real happiness. Now, I get that some people have really great jobs that they're truly happy in, and really fulfilled and so on, which is great because they're actually using those gifts. I'm not saying you have to, not have a regular job in order to, be happy or whatever. I'm just saying that some people maybe just don't recognise what their gift is. And you don't necessarily have to be kind of in that entrepreneurial sort of lifestyle to say, I am using my gift. You may have, a gift for working with homeless people, for example. You may have a real big sort of compassionate heart, and you may be able to help them find jobs, get back on the, kind of get their life back on track, or, just show love and caring and compassion and so on. And maybe that's your gift. The thing is, we all have that gift. And you can choose to keep it all packed up and packed away and not share it. And it's just going to be a real shame if you don't do that. So this guy was saying, you've got to jump. It's like, oh. So I thought, well, okay. So for me, the jump was actually doing these Facebook Lives. I'm just scared witless. Even before I click the button to not button. Gosh, you see how old I am. I'm still thinking about buttons on devices. I still remember when you had to dial a phone like that. Take forever. But I can't even press that button. I'm thinking, because that for me, is a big thing that I had to sort of overcome this fear of going live. And I think the challenge today is that people are where everybody's so busy, jobs are busy, professionally and personally, life is so full, life is so stressful. And I saw, I've got this book which is all about me time. I need some serious me time. And I bought this journal in Waterstone's bookshop. And there was a quote in there. And I suppose you could argue that as a single parent, you probably have quite a lot of me time. But the irony is you don't. I think as a parent, full stop, you don't have a lot of me time. And there was a quote in there by an American poet called Wallace Stevens. And I'm just reading it here now. Perhaps the truth depends on a walk around the lake. And I thought, that just speaks to me entirely. Because, we talk so much nowadays about, obviously, and quite rightly so, the environmental pollution. I mean, it's scary and it's very frightening and it's very real. And we talk about that. But the noise pollution, even just that noise around us, is just sometimes quite overwhelming. And so that quote spoke to me because I like going for a walk. I know not everybody, I don't have a big lake nearby. It's just a small lake in a park. But for me, connecting with myself and with my sort of hopes, dreams, fears, apprehensions, etc., I get to that place when I'm in that kind of contemplating kind of mode. So when I have some solitude. Now there are other times, when I've then got ideas and I feel like I need to bounce them off with, bounce them off other people, which is great. And I would, but it really depends. But for me, I find when I'm going, kind of in nature, I find that I can sort of connect with the truth about me and my life. Because the noise is gone, I'm on my own, there's maybe birds singing or whatever, and it's just my my time. My time of contemplation to contemplate, my the work that I'm doing, my dreams, the steps I kind of need to get there. I start being more creative, and I think that's it. We've kind of, for years and years and for decades and decades, people have obviously conditioned to sort of follow a formula in terms of their sort of work life. But now more than ever, in this day and age, you can actually, there are so many opportunities, so many ways to use your talents and your gifts, the gifts that you have and that you can teach and pass on that knowledge, that inspiration, that kind of practical knowledge or whatever it might be. You can pass that on to other people. There are so many ways now, so many channels, so many media. In a way, it can be quite overwhelming. But I would say to you, there's nothing more rewarding than jumping. Really, there is nothing more rewarding than jumping. It's not a complete abyss. And if need be, think I've got a few ideas. Chat with somebody you trust. Who's just you can bounce ideas off someone maybe in your local area. There's some sort of business groups. You think, well, I might be able to just drop in to a free session and just try and kind of feed off that inspiration and develop those relationships. Because there really is nothing more exciting than saying, well, actually, this is my gift and I want to use it. And as this guy Steve was saying, it's not about education necessarily. It's just not about education. I think, I went to university. I've got a degree in German. I studied French as well, but I left that behind in the second year of uni and I just focused on German. Now, I have used my German a lot when I was in my corporate job and I used to deal a lot with Germany. I used my German, but actually I'm not really using, I didn't need to go to university to necessarily, be able to speak German and use that in my job. In fact, I studied more literature, which was really, it's great from a cultural point of view. But, nowadays more than ever, you don't have to have, kind of high-flying education. That's all great. Of course it is. Of course it is. And, I would wholeheartedly encourage that. But at the same time, there are so many opportunities. So I would just really say, have some contemplation time, walk around a lake or a park or wherever you feel that you can really sort of connect with yourself, as it were. It doesn't have to be some grand meditative gesture, and just say, okay, well, what would be stopping me from doing something different? because I don't want to get to the end of my life and think, oh, I never pulled the cord on my parachute. I never pulled the cord. You know, I had this great time. I wish I'd used it. I could have done this. I could have done that. There's nothing worse. You know, we all live with certain regrets every day. There'll always be some regrets. But don't let fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. So I hope that's been useful. I hope that's been helpful. You know, have a think about what I've said. You know, contemplate what gifts you have that maybe you're not using, that are stuck in that parachute, and that you could bring to the world. And on that note, I hope you have a lovely rest of the evening. It's 8:15 here. I'm going to chill out with my favourite cup of tea, and I hope to talk to you again soon. In fact, tomorrow night I'll be back. Lots of love, and God bless. Bye.